Hello everybody, I'm glad to welcome you to this presentation. The topic is integrating environmental and social sustainability in services for unemployed people, a challenge for eco-social work. My name is Ingo Stamm, I'm a postdoctoral researcher and lecturer from the University of Jyväskylä in Finland in Northern Europe. The organizational background of this presentation is a research project called NESP. It stands for New Eco-Social Policies. NESP addresses the link between unemployment policies and the challenge of sustainability. It was funded by the Finnish Cultural Fund from 2019 to 21. A few remarks on the theoretical background. Eco-social policies, a term coined by Ian Gough. You can see here on the left side one of his recent publications. He stands for the whole discussion in social policy on sustainable welfare, eco-social policy, sustainable well-being, etc. This was one important source for my research project, and here the other two books are standing for the eco-social paradigm in social work. So the whole discussion about how to combine social and ecological issues in social work, how to integrate sustainability and environmental justice in social work. In the middle, a book by my Finnish colleagues Aila-Leena Mattis and Kati Närhi. Both are pioneers in the field of eco-social work. And on the right side, a book I have published last year in German. The starting point for this research was first the assumption that sustainability in the context of labor market and unemployment policies is usually understood as mere cost efficiency. So previous research has shown that if there is talk about sustainability in the context, it only refers to financial sustainability. It's only about efficient use of public money, etc. That also means that the environmental or social dimensions of sustainability are missing. And as so often, the role of social work is also not discussed in the context. From social work itself, we do not find any publications basically on these issues. So I came up with two questions for this research project. First of all, what potential for eco-social policies can be identified in the local context? And then, how is sustainability perceived and interpreted in the context of services for unemployed people? And in order to answer these questions, I focused on a small town, middle-sized city in Finland. You can see here on the right side the map of Finland. So you can see it's here in the west of Finland, next to Sweden, a city called Kokkola. And there I did expert interviews as my main method of data collection. Altogether 5 individual and 2 group interviews, 11 interviewees in total, and the majority, 7 experts, were from social work, so they had a social work background. Others came from administration and economics. And as a method of data analysis, I used first of all the method of constructivist grounded theory. I couldn't go full circle. I could not go back to the field because of the pandemic. However, using grounded theory here resulted in 3 core categories, and I'm calling them here: viewing sustainability as the true nature of social work, seeing sustainability from clients' perspectives, and linking sustainability to institutions and measures. I will come back to these later on when I summarize my research. But then as a second step, I used also objective hermeneutics. This is a sequential in-depth analysis. Usually it's a text analysis, which means that you can kind of look at the latent meaning structures in certain texts. And this was important for me in order to understand better how sustainability is, if you remember the question, how it is perceived, how it is interpreted. In this sequential analysis, coming back here to the table, discovered a variety of meanings of sustainability in the case structure. And these are first an economic and public spending perspective, a moral behavior perspective, and a social work ethics view. So, in conclusion, question 1 on eco-social policies. First of all, which is not or was not very surprising, there were no programs or measures that are based on eco-social policies. So none of the local measures or programs for unemployed people could be considered eco-social in a way that they officially combined environmental and social goals. This is not very surprising also because other research, for example, from Sweden has shown quite the same. However, there were valuable approaches, ideas and concepts that were addressed in the interviews. For example, social rehabilitation measures that include environmental aspects, recycling, reuse, and waste management. So some approaches existed, but not in an official way. They were not named eco-social in any ways. Another idea here, third bullet point, was to have a big team for environmental sustainability in the city, which could be translated into a coordinating office that helps to integrate local eco-social policies. So more in detail, it could mean that on a local level, social services and some form of environmental office or environmental services could collaborate, create projects together, think about how to combine certain goals. Something that would be possible, but to my knowledge is rarely done. And then last bullet point, the fourth sector and its potential for future eco-social policies was also mentioned. So the fourth sector, also called often in the international discussion social and solidarity economy, it comes in different forms. Here in the interviews, interview partners talked about self-organized groups regarding, for example, time banks, how to reduce the use of natural resources, how to barter certain services between citizens, etc. So here lies a lot of potential, yet again it's not very often not connected to any services for unemployed people directly. And the last question was about sustainability, and based on the interview material, one could say that there are three different perspectives on sustainability based on my interview material. So the first one coming from social workers and other professionals. So when they thought about, okay, what does it mean in the social work context from social workers' perspective? And this refers, if you remember my results I showed you before in the table, also to the term the true nature of social work. So the interview partner said, if you would only have time, more space for each client, then it would be sustainable. So a very particular idea of sustainability. And then sustainability from clients' perspectives. For example, it was mentioned that some unemployed people were quite satisfied with little money, with their unemployment benefits, and they preferred to have a low income, but at the same time did not have to enter maybe a work field that would be unsustainable from their view. So they were aiming for a frugal way of life, a modest way of life with low consumption. So this is a very special perspective as well. And then the third one, the perspective of the state or public institutions, and this is more known and it refers to the perspective I have shown you before. It's mostly about finances, it's about efficiency, etc. So this was very interesting for me, that sustainability is seen in very different ways. There is by no means one idea of what sustainability in this context means. And what I also found very interesting is that it is coinciding with the concept of a third mandate of social work developed by Silvia Staub Bernasconi, a Swiss social work scholar, very influential in the German-speaking countries. So she says that social workers often have to face different mandates, one by the clients, one by the state, and then there's also a professional self-given mandate from social work, which is based on social work research and an ethical base that very much also relies on human rights. And based on my research, I would say this third mandate has also maybe have to be extended in terms of sustainability and the environmental crisis. So the perspective of social workers should also include maybe a better, more elaborated understanding of what sustainability means. And also environmental justice, another important concept in this debate, should also be more on the agenda of social workers. All right, I conclude with that. My research is already published in the journal Nordic Social Work Review, so please check it out. If you're interested in more details, you can also contact me via email or on ResearchGate. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.